Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you're back. Today's video is a little bit different than what I usually do, but that was because quite a few of you have asked for my tips and tricks. So I teach a lot of the workshops on Zoom, and one of the workshops deal with a few ideas that I wanted to share with everyone on how to make your life easier. What I have found are some of these apps and some of the things that I started doing that can now become my habits. And quite a few of you asked me to just make a list of all of my favorite tips and tricks and just to share them in a completely separate video instead of just giving you maybe one or two. So I have my handy list here. I actually have a couple of products that I can show you, and then what I'll do is at the end of the video in the description box I'm just going to list all of them, so that way if those items, those tips and those apps make sense to you, then you know where you can find them. Okay, so here we go. Number one that I absolutely love, my one app that is free that makes my life so much easier, is my Google Suite. And it's not just one app, it's a whole group of them. So I have all of my apps on my phone, and my Google is called Productive. I actually named the groups of my apps on my phone, and it's all in one place, which is what I like to do. So a couple of apps that I use that are Google, of course, number one is my Gmail that I use to send out emails and so forth. And one of my favorite features on Gmail is you can have different signatures depending on if you're sending it as a personal email or you're sending it for work. You can also have templates made in your Gmail, so that way you don't have to repeat yourself and rewrite your emails if you are sending the same ones over and over again. And the third one that I love that you can also do on your phone or on your computer is ability to delay sending emails until a certain point. Like you can schedule for your email to go out at a certain date and a certain time. So this way, if you are maybe going away on vacation and you need to have certain things go out and you want them to be received on a certain date, that's one of the great ways that makes things easier for you so that you don't have to remember to do it. So my second favorite app in the Google Suite is my calendar. And I actually use two things. I use my Google Calendar, and I also use a physical planner. So I am one of those people that still loves to use a physical planner that I can use for planning and being able to see everything on the bigger piece of paper than just on your phone. And what I like the calendar on my phone for is because it reminds me. I especially need it when I have meetings that are coming up, where I have workshops that I need to teach, where I have to go see clients. It reminds me a few times before I have to head out. This way, you know, the one reminder is like, all right, heads up, you have an appointment that you need to leave for in 2 hours. Then another reminder I have is another 30 minutes, say, okay, it's time to get ready. And then an hour ahead, I know that I have to head out because I never like to be late for my appointments. I also have my calendar color coded. So everything that my family does is in color blue. Everything that I do for my business that is bringing business, that is very important to pay attention, is in green. I have meetings and training and so forth is in orange. And then I use other colors depending on what those things are. And that's what I love about a digital calendar, is because it's going to remind you on doing something. Other things that I like to put in my calendar's reminders are birthdays. This way I never miss anyone's birthday. I always try to call and text most of my clients to help them celebrate their special day. My to-dos, sometimes a few of those things are important, are like doctor's appointments. If I know that I cannot make my dentist follow-up visit for 6 months at the time of my appointment when I'm done, because sometimes they say, well, we don't have our calendar set up that far in advance. I actually set it up in my Google Calendar as a reminder. This way I don't forget. So if I can't schedule it, I set a reminder, and that reminder is every 6 months. And then of course, when that appointment gets put in the calendar, it reminds me, and I also review my calendar over the weekend for the upcoming week. So I have to-dos. My family schedule is in the calendar. I'm teaching my daughters to put all of their important things on the calendar, because I tell them that if they don't tell me and it's not on the calendar where I can see it, so that way I can plan my day and my week, and I know I have to take them somewhere, they may not be able to go wherever it is that they're planning on going. I told them that I do not like, and I cannot have last minute, oh, can we run over to Target? Oh, can you drop me off at a friend's house? Unless it was truly last minute, which I can then make an exception depending on how my day is going. But most of the time, it does need to be in my calendar, just so that way I can have some sort of organization in my day where I am balancing out work and family, and also being a parent, as well as being a daughter as well. My next items that I also like to plan out is personal fun. And sometimes I will use those appointments as reminders for me to set it up. I like to take a walk with a friend of mine once a week, so that's a reminder in the beginning of the week to check with her to see when is a good date and time her and I are going to take our walk. If it's a reminder, maybe to schedule some kind of just for me time, and it could be a massage, or maybe just getting a cup of coffee for myself and just doing some readings. I like to put that on my calendar just so that way it's a reminder, it's a little nudge, because as you know, we start running and then we don't think about these things and we don't take the time to slow down. So that's tip number 1. Okay, so that was my tip for you for Google Calendar. And you know what? Let me show you my physical planner as well. Personal to-do list, and then work to-do list. And what I can tell you is I always have something that is written in both places, and it could be something that is important for me to focus to make sure that I actually put a check mark and get it done. So as an example, for this week, you know, I have some of the things that are already on my calendar, and I always use a mechanical pencil, so that way if I need to erase and move things, it is a reminder for me to plan a visit to my sister, which I do every other week. I need to get my tires rotated sometime this month, so I keep that as a running reminder, because I don't need an appointment. I just need to figure out when I'm in the area to go ahead and get that done. And I want to try a float session where you float in the magnesium enriched body of water, and it's supposed to be really relaxing and energizing. So I wrote that down as a kind of reminder for me to check it out and maybe schedule an appointment on something that I want to try and do. So this is for my planning and keeping track of everything that I need to get done for my business, and as well as for my personal, my family life. Tip number 2. I'm a big fan of using notebooks, notepads, and stickies. If you ask my family, they'll tell you that they see it everywhere. And here's why I prefer that over maybe like a notes feature in your phone. When I've done some of the research that I had to do for designing my workshops, I read somewhere that there were a few studies done where it has been proven that when you take a physical notebook and a physical pen, there's something in the brain that tells you that you're making progress, that you are moving forward, and it releases the good hormones to get you excited and happy about where you're heading. And this is why you can see this. I use regular notebooks to write down all my notes and my thoughts as I'm working on my business, or maybe I'm planning out some new videos that I want to share on my channel. So I have a notebook that is specifically for my business. I have a notebook specifically for my YouTube where I can jot down ideas. I also have sticky notes and reminders that I can put on, and I have them in my car as well, because I do a lot of driving because I'm a real estate agent, so I show houses quite often to my clients, and I have a lot of time in between in my driving routes to think. That's where I do most of my thinking. You know, some people do it in the shower maybe, some people do it maybe when they're out walking. I do it when I'm in the car. So when I have some good ideas, I don't want you to say, oh, I'm gonna remember that, because you're not. As soon as you come out of that car and you head over to wherever you were going, you're going to forget it, because your brain is not focusing on what you're doing right now in the present time. You're being mindful and you're being conscious about what you're doing. And a lot of the thinking happens kind of behind the scenes, which is your subconscious level. So I'm fascinated by that too. So what I do is I actually have a notepad and a sticky notes near me, and I jot them down. It's scribbles, it's one hand, yet when I am done driving, I take them with you and then I transfer them into my business workbook or into my personal notebook to work on, because those ideas are extremely important to me. So I have them in my car, I have them in my purse, in my home office, in my office, and I just found this also gives my brain and myself a peace of mind, and it does not cause anxiety, because I know that if I think of something that is important, I'm just going to write it down, and then it's going to be there physically imprinted on a white piece of paper, and then I can take it and then move forward with that idea. Tip number 3. So what I have found, and we talk a lot about this in our declutter workshop, is the idea of making cleaning and decluttering fun. And I know that this sounds different for everybody, but just, hear me out, stay with me for a second. So what I have found is that I like to do things and give myself a challenge, right? I like to be challenged. And one of those things is say, okay, I have timed it and realized that my teapot for my morning coffee every day takes 7 minutes to boil from start to finish. So I said, all right, I have 7 minutes to accomplish something while I'm waiting for my water. And it doesn't mean that you set up everything else, right? You can do that either before or after your water boils. So I'm like, all right, 7 minutes, what can I do? And I have made it a game. How much can I accomplish of clearing up, putting things away, unloading the dishwasher, loading the dishwasher? If I have a vacuum cleaner ready, how much vacuuming can I do in those 7 minutes to kind of tidy up, right? Because one of the biggest things that we know with decluttering is that if you keep up with your stuff, if you keep up with your mail, if you just keep up, it's not going to be as overwhelming as a pile of things that you have accumulated over a few months or years. Okay, so I kind of encourage you to decide and see what are some of your waiting times that you have in your own life. And it could be, waiting for your pasta to boil for dinner. Sometimes, depending on the type of pasta you make, it can be 10 to 12 minutes, right? So you have 12 minutes to accomplish something, whatever that might be. Maybe you can go through your junk drawer and you only have 12 minutes, because then the dinner is ready and you're going to be ready to go to sit down with your family, or maybe you have a movie waiting for you and your loved ones. Okay, so that's kind of how I have done that, and I use it almost every day. When I have a little bit of waiting period, maybe I'm waiting for my daughters to get out of the shower, which is a lot longer than a few minutes, so I have a longer period of time. And I have found that if I make it a game, and it's only a small period of time, I'm not asking for you to spend half a day. It's just minutes here and minutes there. Yet I noticed that it has made a huge difference for me, and I enjoyed it because it was making a game for myself. Tip number 4. So for this one, I want you to think about some of your favorite items that you have in your home, things that bring you memories, that make you happy, maybe things that you keep behind a glass door because you want to protect them. Okay, and I actually have some examples here for you. I have a set of spoons, and these are silver, that my grandma has given me. My grandma is not with me anymore, and she given to me as a gift. And she said, I want you to have these, and they were in the beautiful box, and I love them because they have a beautiful timeless design. They don't make them like this anymore. So what did I do? I took the box and I tucked it in, and I made sure it was all nice and clean, and I put it in my dining room hutch, just like she had it, right? I think these spoons are older than me by quite a few years. And then one day, when I was doing some research for a few workshops that I was working on at that time, I said to myself, and I asked myself, what good are those spoons doing as a memory of my grandma for me by just sitting in the cupboard? And I'm like, you know what? No. So I took them out of the box. I actually threw the box away so that way I wouldn't change my mind. And now I have 6 spoons that I use every day for my tea, for my ice cream, for my whatever I might need them for. And me and my daughters absolutely enjoy them. And quite often I think about my grandma because this was a gift from her, and I truly cherish the memories. So I want you to think about the stuff that you have kept from your loved ones that perhaps it's not a bad idea for you to pull out and start using. It could be a set of china or a set of beautiful plates, your crystal. Who says that you can't have your wine that you have a couple times a week out of the beautiful crystal that maybe you got for your wedding? Or the same thing, if you decided that you want to have some tea or coffee, why not use the beautiful cups that you have sitting in your drawers, right, somewhere in your cabinet? So the other example that I have for you is a set of plates, right, because I already mentioned it to you. So these are one of my favorite plates. I actually have 2 types that I'm using on a regular basis. I bought the one year right after Thanksgiving, before I think the official Christmas season has started. So these were on clearance at Pier 1. And you know, sometimes when you come across something and it really catches your eye and you just absolutely fall in love with it, well, these plates were it for me. And I don't get that feeling very often, but I just loved the color of these leaves. I love leaves and feathers overall. This is my current love of the things that I like to have and maybe wear in jewelry and clothing. And I was like, oh my God, these are the most beautiful leaves. And of course, you know, they remind you of the fall season. So what did I do? I bought them, I washed them, I brought them home, and then I just put them in my cupboard. And then a few months later, I realized right around the same time I pulled out my spoons, I was like, what am I doing? These are the most beautiful plates that I have, and I have them sitting in my china cabinet. So I pulled them out, and I have been using every day ever since. And my daughters love it, and it just makes me happy eating out of such a colorful and beautiful plate. So I encourage you to think about what you have that you could pull out and start using as well. Okay? My tip number 5 has to do with our favorite home products that are a part of a system that we can use for maintaining our home, as an example. So for a lot of you who participate in our workshops, especially the one that has to do with home and making things easier, I always talk about when we work through something, I encourage you to set up a system, right? So in this example, what we're talking about is the favorite home products that are part of your system to help you clean faster and be more efficient, and making sure that the products that you're using work really well so that way you spend less time on cleaning, right? I do like cleaning, yet at the same time, I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, right? Because I'm not a very patient person. So I have a list of all the products that I share, and I am going to put it in the description box for you, that I have found. I watched one cleaning company on Instagram, and that's what they had. They said, don't complicate things. Have a set of products that work really well for you and just use them, and that's it. Okay? I want to share with you a couple of them that I use all the time that I absolutely love, because they also are multi-use, right? They are not just a glass cleaner. They actually can be done for many, many things. So the first product is your magic eraser. I love it, and I use it for many, many things on floors and on walls, and I have cleaned my stove with it and the bathroom, and it's just fantastic for many finishes, and I have recommended to my clients, and I actually have a couple of these sitting in my toolbox in my car for when I'm doing staging and I'm working with my clients on houses, because sometimes you just need that just to kind of do some quick cleanup when you're staging, maybe getting ready for a photo session to get ready to put the house on the market. So that is the first item. My second one that I really like, and I like the whole family, so I like Method products, cleaning products for cleaning in my house. I also am very sensitive to smells, so I can't use a lot of the smells because they really irritate me and they sometimes make me sick, but I have found that Method works really well. So I like their multi-purpose, it says glassed surface, so I like their multi-purpose cleaners. This one is lavender, and the second one that I really like is grapefruit. So those are my two favorite scents that I tolerate well and I actually enjoy, and of course they work really well. So that's what I buy. I buy the refill bottles and then just put them in the sprayers. So that's the cleaning products. The other ones that I use and I also recommend, and I do have in my toolbox for my clients, is Wyman family of products. I have found them and they came highly recommended for primarily of handling all of things that are stainless steel. The products were great. Their sprayers, their wipes are amazing. So that is what I use and that's what I recommend for stainless steel. So another product that I have switched over in the last couple years and I really love is Dawn. Okay, either blue or this one is free and clear, and I love Dawn for two reasons. So number one, I love it for dish cleaning, right? It's my soap of choice, and that one is just a regular blue color, nothing fancy. But the one that I also like for cleaning and different things is it's the power wash, right? So it comes out and it's actually foamy, and I use this one as an amazing stain remover. It has removed some of the stains that I could not get out at all before. So this is what I love, and my girls have tried it before as well and they really liked it. So I actually use the power wash for stain removing. So that's my other product that I like. A couple of others that I wanted to share with you is Tide powder. That's the detergent that I use. I don't use cubes, I only use powder, and I also use it, so I use it for laundry, and I also use it to clean my floors. There's a specific formula that you put in the spin mop, which is my other bucket of choice. You put them in the spin mop with really hot water, and it cleans floors and it cleans walls like there is no tomorrow. And my two other recommendations that I have for you is for toilet cleaner, I like Ajax powdered. You just sprinkle some on and you clean the toilet bowl, and it just does the trick and the job every time. And my last combo that I really like for cleaning sinks and also declogging your sinks is a combination of baking powder and vinegar, right? So this is your very funny science project, because the vinegar boils when you have baking powder come into contact with vinegar, and it just creates a chemical reaction. So you get it down the drain, you wait for a little bit, then you pour really hot water down your drain, and your drains are going to be clean. My next tip that I have for you is using your stairs and your doorways as a way for you to organize stuff to move. So as an example I wanted to give you is that if I need to take stuff out and put it in my car, or it needs to go out to the curb, or it needs to go out to the recycle or trash, I will literally put those items either in front of my door to go out, so that way I literally have to move those items and open my door, or I just put them right next to my shoes or somewhere that I'm not going to forget those items. I do it quite often when I'm maybe getting ready for an open house and I have a lot of things that need to go out, or we're getting ready to go to my parents for a visit. I just tell everybody, whatever we're taking with us, the cooler, the items, the things, just line them all up by the front door. I also do the same thing with the items that need to go back, as I'm doing my little spot cleaning because I'm on the timeline. I will take those items and I'll put them at the bottom of my stairs to go up to the second floor. And what that means is I have things on the stairs and I have things on the railing. So that way I know next time I go upstairs, I'll take a couple of those things and I'll put them in exactly where they belong. And then the third spot where I do use it is at the top of my stairs to go down. Right? So I don't want to make a special trip to bring one thing down, but what I do is I make a pile of things upstairs. They need to go down, and that's how I just make things efficient. So that's, again, my efficiency interest. That just jumps in is when I'm trying to plan these things around my house. My next suggestion for you is to get more efficient in the kitchen. And here are a few tips that I have jotted down. Number one, again, is a notepad that I already mentioned to you. I have a magnet notepad that sits on my refrigerator, and I tell everybody, if we're running out of some kind of food, make sure you put it on the notepad. Because when I go to the store, I ask everybody just to text me a picture of our list, and then that's what I'm buying. So I tell them, if you don't put the items on the list, they're not going to be purchased because I can't read my mind. And then also my daughters have a really bad habit of reminding me of something that we're running low on before we go to bed. And I tell them, I am not going to think about it while I'm sleeping and trying to get my rest. I always tell them, if you don't want to go downstairs and write it down, write it on a sticky note, give it to me, put it in my planner, put it on my desk, or when you come down in the morning to have your breakfast, write it down on our list. So that is a list for things, and then for reminders and anything else that they can think of. Number two, we also mark our open cartons of food in the refrigerator. This way we know exactly which one is being currently in use. And this was actually my oldest daughter's idea, and I thought it was genius. What she does is she takes a Sharpie and she puts a little star on the milk carton of the one that we're currently using, so that way we don't accidentally go and open up a new one. Because a lot of times buy 2 or 3 cartons of eggs, 2 or 3 cartons of milk. So, and the same thing with dressings and sour cream and some of the other items that we love to have in our household. So we always mark the ones that we're currently using. This way you're not wasting food and you're just making food shopping more efficient. And one of the things that my husband taught all of us is that we all like ketchup, and we always buy them in bulk. And then so when you see only one left in your cupboard, you need to put that on the list. So this way you never run out, and then you don't just have to run out to the store for that one item, and then you are making impulsive buys potentially. Okay? Item number 8 has to do with the stuff that we keep in our car. Because I am on the road quite often, and I also have 2 very active daughters, and we're always running around to different activities, what I decided to do is make my car my second home, which means that there are certain things that I decided to make it more efficient and make it less anxiety for all of us, that I needed to keep in my car. And here's a couple of things that I always have in my car. Weather tolerant snacks. And most of the time those are granola bars, or perhaps some chips, maybe some cookies, goldfish crackers, things like that. Because I know that I get hangry after a certain period of time if I haven't eaten on time. And also if it really gets to go too far, then I'm also going to get a migraine. So I really need to make sure that I'm mindful about eating. My tip number 9 is the idea of getting all of your appointments that you need to do again at the time of your current appointment. And what I mean by that is, if you are at the dentist's office, you ask them, I know that I'm going to come back in 6 months. Can I go ahead and schedule this appointment today? So that way it's already on the calendar and I don't have to worry about remembering that. And a lot of the medical offices will allow you to do that. Although I know that with my daughter's pediatrician, they always say, well, we don't have our calendar set up that far yet. So unfortunately with them, I actually have to set a reminder in my calendar to call them back in, let's say, 3 to 4 months to go ahead and schedule that appointment when I need it to be. And sometimes, yes, it's creating more work, and yes, I need to set that reminder, but again, this is where my Google Calendar comes in handy. So I try to do this for most of the medical appointments, and it's also, if you think about it, it's a helpful way for you to just to set it and forget it almost, right? So I also can do this. I do this with my tire rotation, with a lot of times maybe with my oil change, things that I also need to get my car inspected. All the things that, think about what you have going on in your life that is on a recurring basis. There's certain things that you have to do every year, whether it's for your health, whether it's for others' health, whether it pertains to your car or your house. Maybe like review your homeowner's insurance and your car insurance policy before it renews every year. I also have a reminder for that in my calendar as well. So that's tip number 9. And the last tip that I have for you, number 10, is I invite you to keep an open mind and consider getting a pet. So our family is a cat family. We are cat people. We've had cats ever since I moved out of my parents' house and graduated college and established my own household. We always have had cats. And I can't tell you how much joy they bring. I consider them our companions, our best friends, our psychologists, our assistants, our supervisors, our inspectors, because that is what they do every day. And they're always happy to see you. They never talk back. They all have different personalities, which I absolutely love. And they overall just make life so much better. So we have a couple cats and I'll share some of them with you. I actually don't have them with me now because it is time for their afternoon nap. Because of course they run around all night long. They have a marathon, they'll have a little bit of a race with each other, and then they sleep and then get ready again for their evening routine. So these are the top things that I wanted to share with you today. The things that bring me joy, that help me and make my life easier, whether it pertains to my personal life or our business, or having that counterbalance and making things easier for me as I try to manage it all. And I hope that you found these tips helpful. What I would love to hear from you is some of the tips and tricks that you have implemented in your own living that are helpful, that you would like to share, because I'm always looking for more things that I know that are going to make my life easier. So you're welcome to add them in the comments. And of course, please like this video. Please subscribe to our channel so that way you don't miss out any of our videos. We work very hard on putting out interesting information on this channel every week. So thank you so much for watching, and then we'll see you next time.